Alright, well, here we are once again. We're picking up where we left off last week with Deceiver. If you didn't join me then, this is where we're at now. You can check the archive stream on my Twitch account or at the Jedi Man on YouTube. I posted it there too. So we'll just get right back into things. So today, what we want to do is square things up. So first, I need to get my reference back up. So I mean, I've got the picture up here, but I need more to go by. You won't see it, but I will. So alright, okay. Now I've got what I need. So back to brass tacks here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten everything out. So for that, I'm going to hide this for right now. Turn the grid on. Get all this stuff centered. Better do it now rather than later. No, not like that. There we go. Okay, so we've got that in alignment. Nudge it in. Grab the handle. And push that into position. Then make sure... Okay, the spike at the top of the axe we need to square off at this too. And let's not do that quite yet. Center that up. There we go. Alright. So now Deceiver's all straight and lined up. So what we're gonna wanna do now is sort of do some little bits of tweaks. Because for starters, the haft is a little too thick. So we're going to taper that down a bit. So taper it down, not... Okay, it's not set to that weird thing. And... probably gonna... round things up a little bit. Maybe. Yeah, I might... I'll either leave this how it is, or B, get it kind of rounded out. We'll see where things go from there. But for starters, what we need to do is get things squared away as far as the haft is concerned. Because as we go back to our view of our backdrop here, and you can see this flutes out like that. So we want to get that effect in play. So what I'm going to do, go into face selection mode, select that face, delete that sucker, come around over to here, and like mouse would cooperate. So let's move this down kind of in line with that. So now, let me see. Okay, I think that's what we'll want to do. Now I want to select those edges. Ugh, come on, you bloody camera. Select the edges on these corners here. Like so. Then what I'm going to do is, where is it? Where is it? Ugh. Now it's around here somewhere. Oh wait, I need to switch to vertex mode. There it is. Want to break it? So we've broken the vertices. What that means is that these were previously connected. So now I can select them individually with great difficulty, but nerds. Since they're overlapping, it's really a trick to get the vertices you want. See, we got that side there. We don't want that. Probably what I can do is move the edge out so I can get the parts I want. And we're gonna have to do about the same here. Okay, so now you can just go and target weld this. We'll have to do about the same for the rest, but I could probably get away with symmetrizing. So what I'm gonna do is facilitate that. Go into side mode here, face selection, delete that. So now we just got our top half there. Okay. So now we got this flaring bit. Okay. Don't think I quite have this right. But we'll just have to make it right. So half the time, you know, I have to need to be in scale mode. Half the time, you know, things don't look right away. You kind of have to fudge things, fiddle things around to get things to look right. It takes a lot of eyeballing, especially if you're working with just one image like this. And even, you know, I've got all the reference on hand, but, you know, you're working with the reference trying to get the proportions right. And so in this case, we might have to... This is not quite on point. Well, it looks like we're going to have to break these two. So, boink. That break button. I need to select that vertex. Okay, I think we've got the right one. Kind of. Pull that out. Whoops. Drag that back. Get those welded. Weld buttons up there. So now we've got all of this. So we're getting kind of into where we want. Now, I'm going to push this up. I'm going to kind of push it up a little more. Squish things around. Because this kind of sweeps out. You can kind of see it right here. It's a little hard because of the quality of the image. This version of 3ds Max doesn't really one-to-one with the image quality. It's always a little bit off. But even so, you can still kind of see the slope here, and that's what I'm aiming for. We kind of want to slope out and then slap down. What you also can't really see here is that there's a cylindrical part underneath this more faceted part. So we'll be doing that once we get this squared away. But first off, we need to square this off. So I'm going to move that around. Probably, well, that's probably going to... We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Okay, so we've got that. Right. So I'm going to pinch this in. Fiddle things around. Okay. Square things up. So we've got that, like so. Now we want to get the sides here. Slope that. Perfect. Wow, that's a nice little happy accident. So that's gotten that nice sweep in place. Now we're going to probably have to do that along this way because we wanted to have that pretty much all the way around the haft of the axe. So we can fiddle things around like that. Now, wanting to make sure that's, well, it's, well, probably have to do is basically rotation, like symmetrize all the way around. Since I've gotten this pretty much in point, I probably can get away with that. Yeah, so going up to here, face selection, and wipe that out. So now we've just got this little side boy. So what I'm gonna actually have to do is do about what we did up here to here. So we'll just flare this out. Make sure I'm doing it right by looking at up here. Is that right? I think that's kind of about, So just getting that like that. That should do it. So that should take care of things on the z-axis. That's up and down. So with that in play, let's get to symmetrizing. Not like that. What are you doing? Where are you? Oh, cripes. Okay. So in this case, you probably noticed a moment there. Actually, I'm gonna undo it so you guys can see. You see how it's going off like that? Going off at an angle it really shouldn't be. I think even if I flip it around, faff it around a bit, it's not gonna... Well, yeah, it's not really doing what we want. because it's remembering the axis it used to be on. So it's expecting things to be different than it actually is. So we want to reset that. So first off, I'm going to reset the pivot point. Okay, affect pivot point, center to object. That's what we want. And you can see the how the axis is arranged by the pivot points set up here. It's not where we want it to be. We want it to be like how the move widget is. So what we do is we go over to the utilities, the hammer, reset X form, and reset selected. And that will essentially zero out the transforms and set it so that the transforms that it currently has are its zero transform. It's basically its zeroed out transforms. So we'll collapse the X form, check the pivot point, and now it's in line with our move widget. So now when we go back to symmetrize, it should give us a result that's not butts. Yeah, there we go. So I just want to make sure that we've got decent alignment here. I think we do. So now I'm going to throw another symmetry modifier on it. And this time on the z-axis. It's squishing it up a little too much, so we're going to want to move it like so. Bring her down, and we want to connect it so that these right here, we don't want to move it up too far so that these start clipping in. Just move it up so that it connects like that. There we go. So now we've got our flared bits in play there. You can see them all the way around the around the haft. Look a little weird. Probably gonna have to do an adjustment, but oh, that's why. Dang it, John. Okay, bring that back. What's going on here? So we're welding together what we don't want. We want it to just weld right here. We want to keep this one. Gotta watch for that, because those things can sneak right by you. There we go. I think. I hope. Is that right? Yes, that's right. That's what we want. Not what we had before. I believe this is what we want. Yeah, we've got that little dealio there, so I'm going to collapse the symmetry modifier. So now that we've got that, I'm going to do a little bit of fiddling here. I wanted that top thing. Come on. Sort of lengthen this out. Just to give it a nice curve. Like so. I think that's good. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, grab these, hold shift, and drag out. So we got that. And that'll give us something. Something good, I hope. This probably won't look exactly right, but the point is you're not trying to get things exactly right. That's... oh, you know what? Are you fooling me? Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay. Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down here. I don't have, I wonder if I probably could. Hold on just a quick second here. hope that's not, like, actually showing up. Let's see. So I want to show you guys something here. Just briefly. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, but I think I'll probably just have it on screen briefly. So you can see this is, I'm looking at this picture of the axe, and you can see that the haft is actually kind of twisted, so it lines up with the facets on the upper handguard. So that's what we're going to end up having to do in order to get, because it's supposed to line up with the top flat of that. So that's what we'll do for that. Probably once we get things a little more squared away. So alright. Almost forgot to save, that's very important. The last thing you want is to do all kinds of work and then the program crashes on you. And then you have to start all over and wish you were, I don't know, taste testing ice cream or something rather than having to deal with the program being a pain. So let's get this straightened out. Come on. There we go. Just want to make sure it's not clipping up too far. So now that we're in order there, we've got our little doohickeys there. I'm going to collapse this and instate our rotation per that image. So I'm going to twist. How's it going? Okay. Twist this around so it's like that. So it's in line with this. And it's obviously not going to be that strong. I don't think. I would hope not. Just kind of got to give it a nice little twist. Might have to add more edge loops. You know how much we love those. Let's throw one up there. Okay, it's kind of subtle. Okay, we don't even have that right at all. Good lord. It's a line, but not quite. Oh, you know what? This is actually... see, here we are. We're in a blooper, which may necessitate redoing this whole thing. So that happens sometimes, but, you know... Because the haft is actually hexagonal. Or hexagonal, not hexagonal. What am I saying? But it starts hexagonal and goes into a square. So that's why it didn't quite line up correctly over here. So the question is, how are we even gonna do that? Because we've done all that. So, well, what we're gonna probably do then is duplicate this bad boy. Where is this? Where's the duplicate? Oh, Control D, you silly. Does that work for that? No, Control D does something else in 3ds Max. Getting my wires crossed. Clone. Copy. Don't want an instance. Okay, so we've got our copy of the hand grip, or cross guard thing. Let's get rid of that. Bring this down kind of, well, first of all, let's get rid of that face. Get rid of that face, and so it's in line with that. No, we don't want that proportional, whatever weirdness. Bring it about into that format, or not. It's actually a little bigger. It's about like that. Here. About like that. Okay. Right. It's about like this. Hexagonal, agonal, hexagonal. Pronunciation. So now what we're gonna do then is just wipe this all out. But first I'm gonna actually get this lined up correctly. Let's undo the rotations I had done earlier. Get that straight. You straight, boy. Get a little more twisties. There we go. Okay. Make sure that we are dead on point. Yep. So now we'll just wipe this whole sector off. Map. Comme ça. And now we want to focus in on this. Looks like to me bring that down, bring that over. Okay. Alright. So we've got ourselves a little skirt. This is our skirt. Right here. It's a little further away. I think it's about the right size. Yes. So make this a little bigger. Probably adjust this somewhat. Okie doke. So now this is what we've got here is a square peg and round hole. Because this is 4-sided, this is 6-sided. So the question is, how are you gonna do 6 sides to 4 sides? Well, let me show you. Just want to select all the edges for the 4-sided bit. Then we select the 6-sided boy. Then we come up to the bridge button here. And that'll lock us in right there. See? It looks a little funny, but I mean, if it works, it works. One would hope. On second thought, I don't think that's gonna work. We're gonna have to rethink our approach there. Doing this, the bridge tool is good for like, if like you wanted to bridge these, if these were all capped, if these were all like this, you know, open, then you know, click these edges, hit the bridge tool, closes them back up. But when you start getting to more complex geometry like this, the bridge tool won't help you except for like individual faces. If you do it all at once, you get that weird twisty mess that we just had. But since these are now attached to their friends, their best friends now, we can use the bridge tool a different way. So we're going to connect these faces like this instead of Whoopsie. I had this face selected, this edge selected instead of the top edge. So we've got it selected all like that. So now we select the border tool, select this, select that, and cap poly. There we go. So now that is significantly less of a mess. And it's probably could do with some rounding out, but this part needs to be thicker. This boy right there. So let's come to the side part, and we're gonna need to add some. Gonna get this bad boy bigger, bigging it a bit more. Bring it up, and right. Push that boy in a bit. And throw an edge loop in. Now you can see it didn't connect, it didn't mirror on this side. That's because this is a triangle and not a quad. Now this is like, these are all, like this is a quad, these are quads, but this is a triangle. So since it's not really like totally connected, the edge loops just stopped dead and it's like, what? Where do I go? So you have to help it along. You can get the edge loop over on this side by using the symmetry modifier, as we have been using. But once you do that, you're going to have to manually connect those. Connect those. And we need the edge loops here so we can sort of flute this out. So, but I think the neck, this thing needs to be thicker. Even thicker. Like maximum thick. At this point, this is kind of where we start deviating from the reference. This reference image is mainly just for the basic structure of our model. So whether or not it's a sword or an axe or what have you, since we're not going directly off of this, we're not trying to make this one-to-one, we're basically, at this point, we're no longer fettering ourselves to the reference. We're getting things into position to a point where it looks right. We want to get the proportions correct, as it were. So that's this requires fussing around with the vertices and rescaling things and muddling things around so that we get the look and shape that we want. So, let me see now. Now, this is where things get interesting. So now that we've gotten things pretty much on point, what we want to do is bring back the faceting, kind of this sloping out we have here. We don't really have that right yet. So, let me see. Right, so get an edge loop here, I think. Yes. And we're gonna bring this up. This is going to be this is going to maintain the thickness of the rest of up here, because we want to keep this its current dimensions. We don't want it scaling up as we're fussing around down here. So let's just bring that down. Let's throw another edge loop in here. Get that sloped out. Bring that down, bring that in. Bring this down a bit and scale it out a bit more. I'm going to throw another edge loop into here. If you hold shift while putting in an edge loop, it'll try to average between the 2 points here to make it to sort of continue the slope. It works for the most part, but sometimes it kind of doesn't. Ah, hell. Now we've got a little bit of bloopering going on here, but we can fix that by doing something. I'm just trying to think here. Okay. We're gonna adjust the dimensions here. I want to get that to flatten out. So we've got that. That kind of pretty much creates the look we want for the most part. We're gonna have to do about the same for maybe, I don't know. Now this is probably gonna be one of those things where it doesn't get quite to the look we want. But the important thing is that it's close enough that it gets the point across. So Paralyzed with what the heck now? How am I gonna get to where I need to get to? Something that helps is trying to visualize what the geometry looks like, trying to see a wireframe on this, just to see how things might flow. So I can see from here that we kind of about have it right. We've got, here's the central spine right there, right here and there. And it comes out right to there. So these meet these facet corners. It's just we don't have the things in place to pinch this in. So what we want to do then, now that I see what needs to be done, for the most part, I'm gonna push these up. Or not. Never mind. False alarm. Alright. Now when it comes to, since you can't put an edge loop into here because of the triangle, that's where the quick slice tool comes into play. Because that'll cut through no matter what. So that'll give us a complete edge loop. Then we can just squeak that in. Hope it doesn't look like total butts. It's one of those things that's gonna have to be reflected over to the other edges, to these sides, the left and right sides. And we're gonna have to do our break again, break things up here. So there's the break button. We have to break up here too. Whoops. So we want to squeak things out. Ugh, like so. Probably gonna have to delete that face so it's not in my way. So target weld. So now we've got that going for us, which is nice. I can delete that face, because I think what I could do is once I get this squished out right, I can lock things down a bit differently, so the geometry doesn't look so weird, as it were. Oh, I need to weld these together. Okay, just making sure it didn't do something freaky. Alright, splay that out. Bring that out a bit more. So we're getting kind of somewhere. I would want things to be kind of evened out. As best we can, really. Right. So, let's get into a good angle here so we don't select vertices on that side. Not that it would matter too much since we'll be doing a symmetry modifier after we're done. But, it's still not something you necessarily want to do. Because, you know, Lord only knows. It just drives me nuts, personally. And break that. So we can grab and pull. Pull that out that way. Pull this out that way. That goes to you. So we can hit target. Snap there. Hit this. Weld. So that should, I think, unless we want to go take that a bit further. Let's check our reference. I think that should do us good. So now I'm gonna hit the face select tool, come around, and cut that out. It's because we'll have to symmetry that sucker. So now coming on from the side here, let's get this kind of mingled into the slope. Like that. So we've got that. Now this got this going on. Let's take a look at the symmetry. Symmetrizes out. Oh, that's interesting. I think I may have accidentally found a way to make a sword blade. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but this is an interesting way to do it. Yeah, that's a really, well, heck, you heard it here first, folks. This is a quick and easy way to make a sword blade with a fuller. Oh, happy accident central right there. So, ignoring that, we can go ahead and get this squared out. So, I think, let's see here now. Do. Ack. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Alright. I think that's good. I think that's what we want. More or less. Yeah. Okay. That might do okay, maybe? Possibly. Because I don't think... probably, actually, you know, what I want to do is go hog wild and just blow these out to the sides. So that at least equalizes here. So we want it to be like way far out like this. So that this is at least kind of straight. I mean, I don't know how that'll end up looking, but... Well, there's one way to find out, is do it. Make like Palpatine and do it. Do it. Okay. So that gives us slopes all the way. Let's see here. That looks a little weird over there, smooth, but that's because it's incompletely smooth. There's probably some welds that need to be put in. So, let's kind of fuss things around a bit more here. It's a little ungainly looking, so we want to pull things up and out. Things kind of back in on where we want them to be. Slope it out. That. This. Kind of want it like that. So let's pull this in some more. Ugh. Scale tool's really kind of fighting me a bit here. There we go. So that's that. So now we want to come back into this. And square it off to get it into that. Swing things around so it slopes up right. Okay, I think we've about got it right. Though we have a little bit of a problem down there that we can remedy by selecting all the vertices on this line. Then, nope, not Y, Z. There we go. Line, this is all line tools. Line that on the Z-axis so that it's all straight and flat. So that when we symmetrize, it doesn't give us some weird nonsense over there. So now we want to come in over on this side and just kind of tweak these so that the slope is better. Do we want to adjust that? I think so. Let's do. Okay, that looks good, I think. Alright. So now that we've gotten that in play, we can, I hope, yep, that works. We can bridge these all together, close up the geometry, and we'll have to select the border tool and this, cap poly. So now we've got ourselves a nice flat section, and it repeats itself down here. All well and good. So now we just want to collapse the symmetry modifier, then select the face tool and then come through and smooth this all out. You can hit by angle, and you want to set it low because 45 is pretty serious. It selects almost everything. Set it down to 20 and that should select along the sides like that. Deselect you, boy. So we can just change the smoothing groups here so they don't all blend together. Yeah, we'll start with 2. Go around it with different smoothing groups. Make sure we don't have other faces selected. It's looking a little funky down there, but we'll go back and fix that in short order. Set that to 5. And for these top bits, we will smooth in line with the... what's your deal? No, you're level 5. That's okay, that's the problem. It's got things by default kind of like have mingled smooth groups. So it takes some fiddling around to get them to not be using multiple smooth groups. And then we've got the corners here. These faces, we can just turn off their smooth groups. And there we go. It's not exactly the picture, but that's not important. What's important is that it looks about where we want it to be. So we've got that sorted out. Now we want the cylinder that it's sitting on. So for this, height segment's 1, sides 16. Go into this perspective, and just drag that sucker out, smooth it, and boop. There we go. And of course it's clipping in like that, but, well, that's an easy fix. We just need to move things around a bit. Scale down. Check to see how it's supposed to be situated. I think that's about right. But what we're going to want to do is bring the edges here. I'm going to scooch this back. It's kind of a big cylinder. It's almost in... Right, so this needs to be adjusted. Let's get rid of that face. Doink. Select that, loop. And let's bring this stuff out. Whoops. Okay. Come back into the side. Deselect those edges. And just sort of get things into a more sorted order. Then I'm going to flatten this out some. There. So that should let us scale this up some more. Oop. Change that to an editable poly. Doesn't quite fit over, but we can just move this around a bit. Just move that down so it's not pushing through the geometry. Okay, so that's in place. So all we need to do now is just get rid of these faces. Since we'll be UV mapping this, as a rule of thumb, anything, I might have even mentioned this in the previous stream, but in case you hadn't joined me then, any geometry that's sunk into or occluded by other geometry doesn't need like faces like this. They're completely pointless because when we're UV mapping, these things won't be visible at all when they're textured. So there's no point in having them even be there if you're not even going to see them. So just delete those faces. Now, come around over to here. I am going to make this geometrically make it better. I can make it better. Make it have geometry. So use the inset tool and just move it in a little bit, and then just go boop with the collapse. That will just slam it straight down to a single point here. And we'll do about the same on this side. Just hold shift, scale it in, that'll extrude, and then collapse. And there we go. So now then, I'm gonna go by angle here, back to 20. Whoops. No, I don't want to select that. Just ignore back facing. Yes. Select all those, and number 3. Yeah. I want to do that to this too. Could probably put some edge loops in later to kind of help the smoothing, but that's what it'll be for now. Okay, so now we've got that in place. So let's come around over to our pommel and do about the same thing. Let's do border selection. Select that. Make sure everything is flat. It's completely in line. Looks to be. So hold shift, scale in, and then just collapse. And nothing to it. Although, nah, it's flat. Just checking the reference to make sure that this wasn't actually like sloped inward, like cupped. So, this is actually kind of a continuation of the grip. So now that we've done that, we've got pretty much our handle halved in place. Now I'm just going to zoom out a bit here. So I want to make sure that our proportions are okay. And if I need to make this head a little bigger, and I think I will. Let's make sure I don't have the handle selected. So I'm just going to scale this up a wee bit, a few notches. I'm going to take this and I'm going to duplicate it. Right click, clone, copy, okie dokes. And move it over. And rotate it 180 degrees. And push it into place, like so. Then I'm going to scale it up. Like that. Okie dokes. Go into vertex selection mode. Swing over to here. Select this. Bring her out. Bring it in. Just giving it a nice little bevel, I think. I think that looks okay. I like these things to have kind of like a neck, collar kind of deal like that. So I think it looks a little weird sometimes when it's just going straight in, especially since like what we're going by here is the haft is fused to the head. But since we're kind of deviating from that and making this like kind of like pinned in place in a way, kind of shift things around a bit, so this is more like a coin. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're pretty close to the end with this, really. At least as far as modeling goes. Once we're done completely with modeling, we'll be going into UV mapping. And oh boy, that's a fun. So, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of round things up a bit. Because right now this is really like a block. It's a cube. It's boring. So, we don't want it to be a boring cube. I want to have a little more personality. So, what I'm going to do is I want to kind of round things up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these edges up to a point right about here. Because this is a wider section here. So I'm going to do that, switch into vertex mode, and I'm going to scale these up vertically like that. So it kind of matches up. Now then, that we've done that, I'm going to go to the move tool and then push it outward. So we've got that going for it. Then deselect those vertices, and then push this out. Actually, I wonder if it actually is better with it just flat like that on the top. We just have this like big old bevel. Oh, what do I like? Well, for starters, I think it could stand and be pulled out further. So let's reselect those vertices carefully. One at a time. Make sure we don't have any. Okay, hello. Yes, we do. We don't want that. Actually, before I even continue, I'm going to delete this face here because it's unnecessary, especially since we're symmetrizing, so we'll just get rid of that. And, okay, good. I did not accidentally delete something important. Thought I did, but I didn't. So I'm going to pull this out even further. So we want to get a nice slope here. Nice little slope. Then I'm going to select these vertices here. Come on. There we go. Whoop, almost forgot. Control S is your friend. And I'm going to pull... just going to pull these boys out here to a point. So we want to continue that sloping that we've done here. Just like that. Bring her out a bit more. Let's select these and push it up. Just kind of pushing things around so that I think I can hide the our reference point there. Because what we want to do is we want to get things to be kind of get a nice decent curve, close to natural as we can with the amount of as close as we can to with using the limited geometry that we have. Could probably even squeak this in some. Squeak that down a bit. Now we could probably get away with grabbing these and pulling them out this way. Yeah, there we go. Gives us a nice little shelf there. Pull it out a bit further. Okie dokie. So since we've done that, yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I like it. Looking pretty good. The only thing I'm debating on is whether or not I should pull the center ridge out to round it off even more. I could probably see what, well, looking at it, not sure that I'm keen on it. So, I think I might just leave it like this with the, sort of squared-ish look. Round this off a little more. You know, on second thought, I'm actually gonna pull things out a little bit here, just to see how it would look, potentially. It was rounded up completely. Well, let's take this all the way and pull that central part out. For everything. Up and in. Probably leave this alone. Unless we have to mess with it. Well, you know, I think actually I'm gonna pull this out like so. So we have a little bit of a rounding there. That. Pull that out like that. So we've got that rounded up. How does that look? Not too bad. It would probably, I'm sure it'll look better once we actually smooth it. So with that in mind, I'm going to put another symmetry modifier in. on the y-axis so that we can reflect what we just did onto the bottom. Move it around. Actually, you know what? Strike that. I'm going to collapse the... Yeah, collapse that. Select the face selection tool. Then go across and boink. So now we have a good delineation, since we deleted the faces, of where the midline is, so we can align this better. So we'll pull that out, slip it in, make sure that it's in good order. Yeah, looks like it. So alright. There we go. Whoops. So that's pretty reasonably rounded. So now we're going to have to adjust these things. We might have to rethink our approach as far as like... Well, potentially. We'll probably have to do a little bit of finagling around to get things to fit with what we just fit with our changes. If we even want to have these collars in place at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this up. That, so got that in place. Alright. So, we've got that. I'm just wondering... Let's check something real quick. No, it needs something up there. It looks wrong without something, at least something up there. So, at any rate, what we're going to do now is we're going to smooth the heck out of this guy. Because you can see we've got a lot of unsmooth faces here that need smoothing. So let's go to by angle and just smooth them all the way. Let's get rid of these extraneous smooth groups that nobody wants. Alright, it's looking swanky. Just like that. Sure that, okay. All that back facing, man. It's looking good. That. Good. So let's do ahem. Always gotta pay attention to these things. That's 3. So let's set this to 3 as well. We'll want to change something. It's already set to 3 somewhere. Fix that. So on tick by angle. Okay, that's fine. It's these guys here that are not fine. I think, yeah. Set that to 2. Well, no. Select these and set it all to 2. You know, looking at it, I wonder. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these parts here. And I'm going to kind of scale them out a bit. Kind of squish them down a bit too. Just to give kind of a little bit more. That looks terrible. That looks not too great. But we can fix that. We just need to adjust this vertex here. All of these. Just to get the slope in right. There we go. Bring that down. Bring it in a bit. we might have to do some manual adjustment. Symmetrizing. Just to get things a little better looking. There we go, that looks better. That's what we want. Okay, so actually, you know, looking at this. Back to the face selection. These we set to, if I can find it, 3. So let's, this is gonna have to change. Because we want these things to not hook together, as it were. So I'm going to set that to 5. And do the same for this one down here. Click, 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 click. Unset 3, set 5. Then select all these things. And we'll set these away from 2 to 3 so that it'll hook together and round off our tip there. Now we come around and we need to do this side. Back to angle, let's do 20. Click, click, click. Stop that. What did I just tell you? Come on. Then select that and that all the way around to here. Deselect what we don't want to be smoothed. 3? That'd be fine? Yeah, that's fine. No weird results. Now we select all that up to there. Deselect that. Check to make sure there's no other nonsense that's selected. Set that to 2. And that's nice and smooth now. I'll have to do the same on this side, but let's worry about the about this stuff. So select that. Whoops. Come on now, stop that. That 3. Same for this. Okay. Select, select, select. Deselect. Set 3. So that looks pretty good. Come around to the top here. Select. Whoop. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. Ah. Getting all kinds of parts we don't want selected. This and this. Just want those. So select those 3. Make sure that we're okay. Looks like we are. Alright. So now we want to come around to this. Smooth that. Not onto 3. Oh, dang it. I always gotta check, because when you're in by angle mode, your mouse will shoot straight through your geometry and select things on the other side. That's what this is good for, but it doesn't always help. So, now back to what we were doing, which is smoothing this. Come back down to here and do the same. Same smoothing groups. Whoop. Come on, deselect those guys. 2 for that. 2 for this. As you can see, the ignore backfacing doesn't really help with, like, you know, selecting this. It still selects these faces. So we've got that. So now we want to get these. Okay. So I'm just going to do 4 for that. Then over here, select these. Okay, and unset those, set to 5. Now this universally set to 2. Come back around to here. We want to fix this because it's a mixture. 3 should be fine. Okay. Then come around all to here. 4. Alright. Hold on, I see a little blooper. What's up with you? Oh, I see what's up. Okay, never mind. 3's no good for that. For this side. Set that to like 6. Even though it wasn't... This part here is 3. Then they connect together right there, so it was smoothing that vertex and it was crossing into here. Which is ugly. We don't want that. Don't look good. So, let's take a look at our axe head bits here. Okay, I think we can get away with setting them all to 2. Nope, not there. 5? No, just use 9. Nothing uses 9. And this is 3. You're going to want to watch for that. So it may have used 3 somewhere around here. Doesn't look like it. This doesn't necessarily need smoothing, but I'll set smoothing group for that anyway. Just so that it actually has some degree of smoothness. You can use the same one for each little hook. So there we go. Alright. So now there was something some little adjustments I want to make here just to kind of round things up a bit. Make things look a little nicer. Gonna do about the same down here. Adjustments. That should do, I think. Won't be exact. I don't really feel like mirroring things around. And I kind of like it that the heads don't have a completely round profile. It's got kind of an interesting, very vague arrowhead shape to it. I think that makes it a little unique. So we'll keep that. So now we've got the head of the axe to consider. The spike and everything. Oops. I could probably do a rounded spike if I wanted, but I'm not sure if I will. I guess we'll see at the end of the day whether or not it would benefit. But for the moment, I'm going to smooth group these up just to remove any hard edges. So it's a nice smooth run. Okay. So now what we need to figure out is what we're going to do. Don't know that I'm going to push this off into here. We might end up having to just shove it in like that. That might just be what we'll have to do, because I don't think well, I don't know if I like how that looks. It looks weird. Ugh, yeah, that doesn't look too great. I don't like that. Probably I could either have this roundy bit or I could have a square bit. Now, what I probably could do is slide that off to there. But that ends up giving us that same ugly interaction. So you know what we might have to do is for the bottom, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's a pickle. Oh, actually, you know what? No, 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 no. I know what we can do. I know what we can do. I've got the solution. For starters, this we need to move down so that's in proper alignment with the 0 line. Hope that there's no clipping with our thingy. Doesn't look like it. So, okay, got that. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this in. I'm gonna scale it down, actually. Scale it down so that this vertex, these vertices, will line up with that that point there. I'm gonna go to the side here. I'm going to adjust things a bit so that there's more of a slope. Like that. Kind of coming in a little straight. Come to think of it, I could probably actually just wipe these edge loops out and adjust things back here. Riveting. Let's push that out. Push it out further-ish. There's a lot of adjustment and finagling going on here. But okay. I think that might do. I'm gonna push that up more like to there. Put it there. You know what? Switch back. Remove that. I'm gonna do... Oh, what the heck happened over there? What did you just do? Ugh. Some rogue vertex got selected and got dragged along. Oh, okay, it was the opposite, but still, you know. It's not what we would have wanted to happen. Nope, okay, good. Okay, let's push that forward and over and up. Come on, select that thing. So what I want to do is, I want things to kind of slope down. I want to have a nice, like, probably want to put in a few edge loops here and there to help give it a better slope. So I'm going to put another edge loop right there. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to move it over. Move this over too. Bring her down. Turn the guide off so I can... Grid, not guide. Turn the grid off. Okay. Scooch, scooch. Bring it down. A little more there. Okay. I think that should give us the result we want. Yeah, there you go. Molto bene. So now what I'm gonna do is make sure that not quite in alignment, so select this with the move tool. W on the keyboard. I'm gonna try to at least get this kind of close together. Make sure we're okay there on that side. Let's push that up. Whoops, I said up, not to the side. What you doing, bro? Okay. Now select our axe head, attach button, and attach it to the haft. Now the magic begins. I'm gonna turn all that off, and I'm gonna select these faces, except for this one. Just these four right there. Kill them. Then select this, edge tool, over there, and bridge. Go over here, over there, bridge. Select that, and then that one, and bridge. This and that, and you guessed it, bridge. So, what that has done is, it looks like crap, but it's all dented inward, but we can fix that easy peasy. Just by selecting these two right there, and then just put it up right into alignment. About as into alignment as we can get it. There we go. So we've got that now. Hey, hey. So, now that we've gotten that, we will select this. What is this? Smooth grouped as 3. Select all these. Make sure we don't have any other faces selected. Set that to 3. Yeah, what you doing? Oh. Don't have our boy welded. Forgot. Need to weld these vertices up here. Put them together so that they're attached. Now that's welded. That smooths this off, but what I'm going to do now is put our good boy edge loop right there. Because what I want to do is select that one too. Come here, attaboy. And I'm going to flare it out to the side. Just like that. Out to the side. I don't want to do it upward because then that'll just screw everything up over there. So we've done that. I'm going to flare this out more. Do we want to do that? Is that looking like dumb? I'm gonna move this down. I'm gonna pinch it in more. I'm gonna push this up closer to that. Kind of creating a little bit of a collar in a way. Let's get rid of this. Remove. Push that down over to there. Do about the same for that so we can get an even slope. Okay. Right. So now the fun begins as far as that's concerned. Because what we're going to need to do is smooth this whole thing, the entire haft, because it's now part of the axe head, and it looks wrong with it not smoothed. Whoops, not by element, please. That's everything. So let's do it like this. Whoop. So we're gonna set it to 3. Deselect all that. So now why is it looking like that? Oh, that's why. Derp derp. So now this doesn't this doesn't look the greatest, but this is fixable. We just need to get a little bit of adjustment going first before we get into it. Oh, why ain't you selected there, buddy? I'm gonna bring this down that. Just want to have a bit of a slope on all sides. Right. Let's see if we can't Is that yeah, that's straight. But I think we want it to be more in line with that. Put another edge loop in here so it's more rounded. And up. Select that. Squish it in. Okay. I'm gonna throw another edge loop in right there. Or maybe not. Never mind. I'm gonna push it in much closer. Okay, well, that's probably as good as it's gonna get. So now we need to take care of this mess up here. And that's where edge loops again help. If I can get this thing to work. Now, it's being very fussy, but you can see we're getting an edge loop all the way around, all over the dang place here. Don't really want that. So, I'm probably gonna to get creative. Because we want what I'm gonna do, and you'll see soon, once I put them all in. I'm going to eliminate this. We don't want this edge loop going all the way around here. Probably actually, you know what? Doing it that way, maybe no. I'm just gonna target weld all these into place. Whoops. Target, target, target. It's a little, this is a bit time consuming, but the thing is, since we don't want this edge loop, you know, screwing up our geometry here, gotta get this extra edge loop out of here. I think really I could just, at this point, I can just select the edge right there and then hit loop. That'll bring it all the way around. Then we can just hit remove. There. That's gotten rid of that. So now we need to do another. You know what? I don't think this is looking too hot. Probably. Whoops. Probably do it across over to there instead of over to here. Maybe. Boy, I don't know. Maybe I could just like do it like out to here and then to there, onto the face. No, that's alright. We'll have to figure that out. I want to put another edge loop in if it'll let me. Right up there. So we've got a nice, well, and that's where we're gonna have to loop and destroy this one and redo it. So that it'll, crap. Ugh. Come on, you fussy thing. Let me do it. Okay, well, whatever. I could probably just do some symmetry magic. So I could probably just get an edge loop there. And on the other side. Again, if it will let me. There. So we've got kind of a hard, it looks a little of a hard edge, but it's not quite a hard edge. So now we just need to get rid of all these extraneous edge loops that are ruining our day, making things look bad. Let's deselect the edge loops all the way up to the back there. so we don't delete anything important. Loop. Oops, nope. Yeah, we do want to deselect that. Deselect it all the way to the back. And remove. I think with this we can fudge it by cutting across like that. Or not. Well, in either case, what I can do now is symmetry. Where's that symmetry tool? Oh, well, there we go, blade football again. Most dangerous sport known to man. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, that's what we want. We're gonna get another symmetry modifier in here and flip on the Z-axis so that we can get the edge loops going on here. Gonna have to re-smooth those though. Revise the smoothing groups because it's just for the edges. Okay, so I think that should cover that. It's a little tight there. Oh, you hogwash. Darn it. The symmetry's wrong over here. Oh, yep. Okay, yeah, that's what's wrong. I think we want to flip it. I want to flip it so that there. Okay, I want to flip it so that we get this edge loop on the right axis. Turn that on. There we go. So now we've got a nice looking rounded hard edge, but not truly hard edge. It's got a nice like highlight on the edge instead of just being straight up hard, flat, hardy edge. That's going to require finagling the loops there. So let's collapse this and find out where we're going to put these things. Probably cut it up like that and then there. And hope it won't look terrible. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you're gonna get some slightly weird shading, but if it doesn't show up horribly in once everything's all textured and stuff, then it's no big. I think in this case that's gonna... Yeah, that's not working. Gonna have to change our approach here. Remove that. We could probably spread that out. Give it some more. That we're not going to be able to spread it out. We're gonna have to probably cut across like this then. For those parts. Oh my god, that's not working. I think this has overstepped its bounds. There we go. Yeah, this is the tricky part right here, is when you've got some geometry like this. Sometimes the only thing you can do is just cut it up and across like that. Just like so. And then you can weld it like this on a face that's not smoothed, so you don't get all that weird shading. Over here we're gonna have to do roughly the same. It's kind of going a little wide here so that these loops don't interfere with the structure of things. Bring it like that, and then like this, out wide, and then like that. Weld. Then about the same down here. Come out wide. So, come up into here and connect to that. Okay. Using that, it looks better down there than it does up here. That's looking really not good. Yeah, this is one of those tricky conundrums. So what I'd like is for it to not have this smoothed mess. So it looks like a hot mess here. What I might have to do is pull things around a little bit. Or something. Let's find some way to get rid of that. So just kill all that now. Actually, I could probably get rid of these vertices. Now, you know what I'm gonna do actually? I wonder if... Oh, dang it. You're not gonna play nice, are you? Nope, evidently not. Let me guess. Well, not really. Probably have to cut from here to the... Oh. Right, that's why that didn't work. It's because it's pretty much... Oh, wait, no. That's what I wasn't trying to do. I was trying to target weld this into there. But I'm probably gonna have to, like... try pulling it out. Nah, that's not working. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's what we'll probably have to do there. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing it now. Sometimes it takes a moment to see what needs to be done in order to remedy certain problems. Like that, for example. So now that we've gotten that, we've got that cut out. So now I'm going to continue this right along here. To a point, probably about to there. Oops. Oh, okay, we still got the tool on. Good. Didn't accidentally close it out. So I'm going to push and pull it down over to here. Bring that over there. Got that width. It's looking a little bit of a hot mess right now, but we should be able to make it less of a hot mess at the very least. Oof. Stay steady there now. Let's cut this across. Whoops, whoops, whoopsie dipsy. There we go. Oop. I accidentally caught my phone, my headphone cable there. Okay, I'm gonna try cutting it down over to here. Give ourselves that sort of look. Do about the same over here, cutting it across over like that. We'll move this. Weld. Move and weld. Oof. You know, that doesn't look half bad, really, from a distance. It's probably one of those things that's just gonna have to be finagled a bit, but I'm just gonna pull this stuff out so that it's more in line, like that. They can come out here and hook it into this vertex right there. Do about the same up here. It's connections. It's all about connections. And whoopsie. There. Oh, weld. And let's do the same over here. Just bring that over. Hook that into each other. Weld to clear out any vertices that may not have gotten connected. And so that's about what we've got now. I think I could probably just splay this out. Do the same down here. Come here. There we go. Ah, shoot, I rolled that up. And, well, you know what? Should do that splaying over here. Just get rid of that hardness. Just like that. Spread it out more, do a little bit more of it. Come on, the widget's getting in the way. There we go. Same over here. Just really spread that out. So, all right. Split that out a little more. Come on. Okay. Think that should do it. Yeah, I mean it's does the job. Kind of. Ugh, come on now. I'm gonna bring that out a bit more. Probably, you know. Take these vertices and push them. Nope. And nope. No looky goody. Okay, well, you know what? I think that looks alright. So, well, before we get going there, fix the smoothing on the axe blade here. Oh, you know what? Whoops, wrong. God damn it. Shut up. This thing. I want the spray selection, so I can select things faster than individually. I just wanted, we want the bottom there. Make sure we've got everything selected appropriately, and change it to 4. Make sure there's no weird smoothing in the corners, and there isn't. Good. Come over here and do about the same to this side. And deselect all that. We don't need you guys to be selected, or really any of that. Whoop! Ding dong didgeridoo. Boop boop boop. And there. And select you. Make sure there's nothing else selected that we don't want selected. Okay, looks good. So turn that off, select 4. And that should do that. So, with that, I'd say that the model here is complete. So, yeah. So, with that in mind, what I'm actually going to do is a few things need adjusting. That's okay. Set this to 3. Or not. Should I? That should... Okay, no, that's not gonna work. I'm just gonna select... Whoops. Pull out. Pull out. All the way. Come over here. I'm gonna forget that I have the airbrush selected. Select all. Come here. Select that. I'm going to turn off the smoothing for that. So I've got it smoothed up front, but it's not so much back there. That's okay. So that should be the final tweak for model. Oh wait, almost forgot. We need to close this off. Collapse that. There we go. Wait, actually, second thought. Clean that out a bit, because this is actually kind of... come here. It's sort of cupped over the... So I'm just going to do that. Okay, jeez. Oh, upside down. No wonder it was acting a little bit weird. Loop. Bring that out. Loop. Scale that in a bit. Then we'll scale in a little bit more. Push that out. Another extrusion, drop that. Then we'll grab that vertex and push it out. Okay. There we go. So that should be it for the actual modeling process. So, now I give my arm a little bit of a rest there. Now we can get into UV mapping. And that's the trick. That's the fun part. So since this is a whole unit on its own. So I'm gonna start with the hand grip for UV mapping. So to start, I'm gonna reset its X form just to make sure that the UVs don't get all weird. And I'm gonna do that as I go. So starting with the handle, gonna go up to the text tools button here. And then this is a third-party plugin. It doesn't come with 3ds Max, so you'd have to go poking around for that. But it's very handy for UV mapping and all that. So I've got that. Now gonna hit the checker button. And what this does is it helps, not only does it help like determine like any stretching or stuff like that, it tells me what I have actually UV mapped compared to what I haven't yet. So now that I've done that, hit the edit UV button and that'll bring up the unwrap UVs. And that's the raw UV coordinates. Looks great, doesn't it? Now, if you're gonna texture a model, UV mapping is absolutely critical because otherwise your texture is gonna look like this when you apply it. And you've got this mess here. You're just gonna get a real hot mess altogether if you don't UV map your model. So now, you also want to think about like the orientation of your weapon, since this is an axe. Now, if you're doing this, is going to be for Skyrim, so you're making a weapon for Skyrim, and you want to think about the orientation, how it's held in the hand, and how the character's using it. You want to remember the perspective that you're in. So, since the player character holds the axe, the fingers are wrapped around here, and the hand itself is sort of up against here. So you want to UV map things so that the seams will be in those places where they will not be seen. There's really no way to truly avoid seams that's going to happen unless you use seamless textures, and even then you have to get the alignment just right. That's really fiddly. So what I do is I usually either go up and down or side to side. You can see how I've got this side selected, this half. And also I go down, uncheck normalize map, then iron. And that gives us that half of the handle. You can see it's got a little bit of a curve. So now then I want to select the other half here, boop, and make sure we don't have part of this what we just did, and then iron that, relax a few times. Now this green line here, this pale green line, that indicates the seam. So if I change the checker, it looks like right now it just looks like TV static, but if I go in real close, no, I'm here, you bastard. Work with me. Are you gonna turn? Okay, I think it's. Oh, yeah. You can see how the checkers don't align. That's a seam. So if we come back into our UVs here, since the player character is going to be holding the axe, since the part that's facing that will be facing the character is this back strap here, this part will be facing out. You could either UV map it how I'm doing with the, you've got this half, and then you select this UV, you select this edge, which is one of the top edges, and then hit stitch. Then I'm going to select that whole thing, relax it, and lo and behold, seam is gone, but it's down here. So when the character is holding the axe, this is facing out. You will not see this in normal gameplay. Even if the character's swinging around, it won't be visible because, it's facing away from the character, like so. And even like, I can't really get it at that orientation with just the camera, but it's at roughly this angle-ish, kind of like this. So I usually like to do it down like this because universally you're not going to see that. If you do it across the back here, you'll kind of see it. You'll kind of see the seam if your character's hand isn't completely covering the handle. So if I had done it across, like I haven't done these yet, but if it was just this mid part, then you would see the seam along the back, since this back part is kind of facing towards the camera, and this part's facing away. So if you were to do it the other way, like if you're doing across the top like this, you'd want to stitch the back. So you'd want to stitch it along the back edge and not the front edge, because the back edge is the edge that'll be facing the character, facing you. And that's where the seam would be if you stitch it on the opposite side. But I like doing it down here because that's a much more guaranteed means of making sure that the seam ain't visible. I mean, it'll still be visible if you're looking at it in the inventory, but that's all. Oh, hey Omega, nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. So, kind of at the tail end here, but I want to at least UV map these guys here. These little knobs. Actually, I'm going to switch back to my normal checker map, because that one's looking a bit garish. So now this is a little... This front part's a little different. Yeah, this is Deceiver. Let me pull out a bit so you can see the guy. I finished the model here. And I'm just in the process of UV mapping it right now so that I can put textures on it. So I'm starting at the handle. I'm going to be working my way up. Yeah. I've got the reference right here. Let me select this whole thing. So move it over to the side so you can kind of see like where I started. Yeah, to be honest, this is complete artistic license because Deceiver comes from Ultima 8, and you know the thing with doing weapons for artifacts of Ultima is there's a lot of artistic license to do because you know half the time. Let me just do a quick little dilly dally here. Because you know half the time Ultima is from like the 90s, and that was before like proper 3D. Ultima 8 was like a pseudo 3D. It was isometric, but there was like no actual like proper 3D yet. That happened in Ultima 9, and we don't talk about Ultima 9. But the thing with working since we're working with since I'm working with this sort of thing, these old games, you've got about Ultima 9. Oh, about Ultima in general. Well, I think Ultima is kind of forgotten in a way. It's really Ultima. The Elder Scrolls actually wouldn't exist without Ultima, to be honest, because Ultima Underworld was responsible for what's the word I'm looking for? Ultima Underworld was responsible for the creation of Elder Scrolls Arena. Elder Scrolls Arena is pretty much not too much different in terms of, at least in terms of like graphical. Oh, why is Ultima 9 like the Black Sheep? Well, that's a long story. To put it very simply, Ultima 9 completely destroyed all the lore that the Ultima series had built up to that point. and it even completely ignored what happened at the end of Ultima 8. You could argue that Ultima 8 was like Ultima 8 was Ultima 8 is is probably, at least in my opinion, the last okay Ultima. Ultima 7 was the last good Ultima. Ultima 7 and Serpent Isle were the last good ones. Serpent Isle is my personal favorite. But like Ultima 9 did like so many terrible things. It's like the people like knew Ultima, but like did what they wanted with it. They didn't like stay with certain things. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Jake Callahan. And like I think one of the big things is to really like throw into perspective about Ultima 9 is in Serpent Isle a major character died. They sacrificed themselves. And in Ultima 9 they come back for like literally practically no reason. And the fact that they came back at all in Ultima 9 was very bad because they sacrificed themselves to basically make sure the world doesn't end. And them coming back is like, okay, like, what? Pumpkin, what? How? That doesn't make... No, you can't do that. But, just for indication, like I was saying before, like, this isn't really what Deceiver looked like. I can show you real quick here. This, like the Zelda CDI games, yeah, basically that. Like Ultima 9 completely, it like acknowledges things from past games, but it just like completely goes like, I mean, if you think like of Ultima, the past Ultimas is like Ocarina of Time, Ultima 9 was all the CDI games together. To put it very simply. But yeah, this is literally Deceiver from Ultima 8 right here, overlaid or whatever. So it's literally like this is the same sprite as the magical axes you can find in the game. So when you're dealing with stuff like that, you kind of have to. I have to do a lot of artistic license. Yeah, only good thing that came out of CDI was the memes, indeed. And I think really the only good thing that came out of Ultima 9 was Spoonie's review of it. And I mean, I have never personally played Ultima 9. I know that we got it along like about when it released, but I don't know if I never played it, and I don't know if my dad ever did, because he was the one who always played the Ultima games. I played 6 through Serpent Isle, and to be honest, I was little at the time. Yeah, Wanda Gamelon. But now I don't remember what my train of thought was. Whoops. What was I doing? Fussing around with this grip. Oh, yeah, I played Ultima 6 through... No, I played Ultima 6 through 8. And Serpent Isle included. And I was a kid at the time, so this was like in the mid-ish 90s. And, kids don't really have the patience for the kind of game Ultima is. It's, like, it's very cerebral. There's a lot of puzzles, and there's no, like, real hand-holding like there is in games nowadays. There's no, like, you talk to someone and a quest pops up, and go from here to point B. Go to collect 20 bear asses, or whatever. And so, you had to like keep notes longhand. You had to write all that shite down. It's like, okay, this guy said this, you gotta go there, you gotta do that and this thing. There's no journal in the game or anything like that. You had to keep your own journal. And also, like, this was in the days of like dial-up internet, so if you wanted to look up a walkthrough, like you had to wait, like you had to listen for that classic modem shrieking. You have to wait like 10 million years for it to load up and all that. So Ultima was quite a challenging game, but like uh now I don't know where I'm going with this train of thought, but the whole reason I started Artifacts of Ultima was how close to my heart the game is. People have fond memories of Legend of Zelda games, and I certainly do myself. But Ultima. I grew up with Ultima, and it really kind of saddens me that Ultima 9. The interesting thing about Ultima is that um up until like 8 and 9, each game was better than the last. And like Ultima 1 was like way back, way back. Like God. I'm trying I can't remember off the top of my head. Um I want to say like the early 80s or so. Like there's like vector graphics then. That was Hey, the picture I showed you of Deceiver, that was like that's that's old school, but not super old school. When we talk vector graphics, we're talking like just like literally basically this. Basically just wireframes and like colored lines and stuff. That was like those were the old graphics. And even before that there weren't any graphics. It was just like text. It's like you, you enter yon dungeon, you see a flask. But it's really because of how close Ultima is to me, how much I, how formative, I guess in a way you could say, it was. How close it is to my heart. It's half the reason I made the mod in the first place, because it's like, I figured there's a lot of interesting weapons that's added by that Ultima has brought to the table, and you see a lot of references to them in older games like Dungeon Keeper, not the new one, not the newer one, but the old one, the OG one. There's some references to Ultima in there. But I mean, like in Skyrim, you got uh, all these weapons, like rote weapons. Like, you find enchanted weapons. It's like, oh, and it's another steel sword. It's another elven sword. It's another ebony sword. All these enchanted weapons look the same. They just have a different enchantment on it. With the weapons from Ultima, you get some really interesting stuff. Like one of the best weapons in the mod and in Ultima 7 is a hoe. I am not joking. One of the best weapons is a gardening hoe. And I mean, there's no way Artifacts of Ultima would be complete without that. Without the hoe of destruction. Okay. Whoop, wake up. Don't clock out on me, phone. Did I miss? Yes, I did miss a face. Get over here. Whoopsie daisy. There we go. And there's some, apart from the Hoe of Destruction, which is probably one of the the best in terms of power and in just in the fact that it exists. There's the Dragon Slayer, which comes from Ultima Serpent Isle, which, you know, it's another one of those things. Like, some of these weapons, like, I did some artistic license with. Not just in terms of, like, their looks. Like, Deceiver is another one, is one that I have to do artistic license as far as its looks, because, you know, it's a simple rote sprite that doesn't look all that unique. So, and I want to make sure it looks unique. You want to be able to, like, you see this on the ground and you're like, okay, I want that. That's a something. That's something cool. That's gonna do something rad. If I pick it up and smack a bandit in the face with it or something. And so, and since Ultima is, like, the Ultima weapons aren't, like, all, like, overwrought like some fantasy weapons are. Oh, what's going on here? What is this? Oh, that's the side. Derp. Derpy derp 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 derp. Like, you know, like all the, like, the Ultima weapons generally aren't so, like, over designed, like some like weapons from WoW, or like, even the Skyrim weapons are a little bit weird. The paddle swords and all that. Yeah, we want to stitch it on that side. So, like, I generally try to keep to that aesthetic when I'm doing the weapons. Like, trying to keep it, like, not, like, ridiculous. Not, like, all, like, spikes everywhere and looking like a boat oar more than an actual sword. Like, all that, like, just, Ultima is a bit more grounded, a bit more realistic in terms of its weapon design. And it also, like, the oh, dang it, my train of thought derailed there. Where was I going? I'll find the train eventually. I know how does the glass sword look different from normal glass swords? Like, the Ultima glass swords are not malachite. They're not green. I can tell you that. That's a way you can tell at a glance, because the glass swords from Ultima they look like normal swords, pretty much, except that the blade is made literally from glass. Not malachite, like actual, like, glass. Like, literal glass. And so, but, you know, and it's as fragile as glass. But the thing with the Ultima glass swords is you can kill just about anything in just one hit with a glass sword. You know, Dragon Priest, Dragon, Chuck Norris, watch out. But the thing with the glass swords, the Ultima glass swords, is that you can only use them once. You hit someone, they die, the blade shatters into like a zillion shards, and then that's it. You'll have to find another one if you want to smack something with a glass sword again. That's the glass swords are one of the more dangerous. They won't conflict. The wheeled clutter door shield is literally a door. It is literally a door. The Ultima door shield is smaller and it looks different. It's it's smaller. It's more like a one of those Roman tower shields. And plus, the the internal IDs will be different, so they won't conflict in that respect. They'll be named the same, but so if you're running Artifacts of Ultima and Wield Clutter at the same time, if you find something in loot that says Door Shield, and it's like, okay, oh, what kind of Door Shield? But of course, if memory serves, I think the Door Shields mainly would be on bandits, like the Wield Clutter Door Shields. So, I mean, at a glance, you'll be able to tell whether or not a bandit has an Ultima Door Shield or a Wield Clutter Door Shield. Because you'll see you'll see the Wield Clutter Door Shield a mile away. Oi, get over here. There. Ow. Oh yeah, there's a lot more of that. Really, I could say that the Wield Clutter Door Shield is probably meant as a kind of a wink towards the Ultima Door Shield, because with quite a few weapons from Artifacts of Ultima, Jake Hallen had used in Relics of Hyrule for certain things. And so, I mean, there's a little bit of like a little bit of nods here and there, I'd say. Yeah, I'll stitch you there. Saved, not the game, but the scene. Oof. All right. That's all stitched around. Where's any where Ah, okay, right there. Yeah, it does have it's got a unique handle. And also a unique looking blade, because it's more like it looks kind of like your typical long sword, arming sword or whatever, but it's got a gold handle and of course the crystalline blade. And also, speaking of which, also when you in the Artifacts of Ultima, when you break a glass sword, you get the handle back, so you can make a new glass sword if you've got the materials. Now we're getting into some crazy territory here. Yo. I'm gonna get what I can here. It was the pommel. Stitch. Before we call it a stream. Let's see now. Yeah, those guys aren't gonna go together. So just gotta do what you can. It's annoying that it's going kind of ovoid. You know, what can you do? Get that spike. Whoa, lagged a little bit there. Let's get this. Whoops! Dang it! To reopen that thing. Let's get this middle point. Oh, let's get those points. Let's bring that down. I'm gonna turn this off so I can see what I'm doing. So I want to go and drag this in. There we go. Iron. Relax. And iron. Relax. And iron. And Deceiver here is just going to be one of the new weapons that'll be in the, well, really the 2.0 update. Because I have a couple others I plan to do, at least hope to do. And one of them is the Lightning Whip. I've got some ideas on how that's going to work. But still have to do the models and all that. We want to stitch it up on the top here. I don't remember off the top of my head what other ones I'm intending to do, but I know Deceiver here is one, the Lightning Whip's another. And there's probably at least one more that I'm thinking about, but I don't know. Don't remember off the top of my head. So I'm gonna do this one in a hot second here. I think I forgot to fix that, but whatever. UV map unwrapping a cylinder is really quick and easy. Just to get the last 2 minutes out of here. Ah, no, not split, damn it. Damn it, John. Damn it, Bobby. You ruined it. Okay, let's get that. Doesn't really matter exactly which way. Well, I suppose it matters a little bit which way it goes. Yeah, we want to stitch it along the top there. Just so it doesn't look like butts. Okay, so I'm gonna click out of that, close that. So we've got about the handle section mapped up, and that'll leave the shaft and the head and all this whole section for next time. So, but those who came down, thanks for coming, and tune in next time, same bat time, same bat channel, for when we finish this sucker off as far as UV mapping goes. Then once the UV mapping's done, then it'll be consolidating all the UVs to get them ready to texture. So, thanks for watching, guys. Oh,